Hello, everybody. This is Dollar Lance. Currently, everybody has been asking me for this for a long time since I've been posting Master Duel videos on my YouTube, and there's more than a few that have asked for this a couple times. And now that I have a little bit of time, I can show this to everybody. So, keep in mind, this is my personal version of the deck. So, if anybody wants this deck and wants to make modifications, feel free to do so. But this is just the version I play personally, and this is what got me to rank 1 in platinum. So with that, we're gonna just show the video or show the deck list. All right, basically this is what I play. I hope the music isn't too loud, but basically this is what I'm going to play personally. So what we have here are 2 Veiler, 3 Cyber Dragon Hers, 2 Cyber Dragon Notsters, 3 Core, which is a requirement, 3 Ash Blossom, 1 super rare of the Electromagnetic Turtle, 3 Cyber Dragons, which is kind of standard if you want to play a pure build, 2 Galaxy Soldiers, 1 Juzukiru Kaiju, and then for the spells you have the Heartbeat's Feather Duster, 3 Machine Dupes, 1 Overload Fusion, 3 Cyber Emergencies, 1 Cyber Repair Plant, 1 Rev System, and then from there you have 1 Lightning Storm, which is the only one I have currently right now, 3 Pot of Prosperity, 1 Cyber Load Fusion, 3 Evenly Matches, which is probably the most important card in the deck. This is the card that won me a lot of wins, but I'll explain that in a little bit. You have Infinite Impermanence, which you play 3 of in this deck, and of course the one of Cybernetic Overflow. In the extra deck, you have 2 Rampage, Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, 1 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, 1 Cyber End Dragon, 2 Mega Fleet, which is a personal thing. A lot of people play only the one of. I personally like to play 2 of it. Then you have the Pallades, Castellar Pallades, 2 Nova, which is standard. The V-Mana, Chronomaly V-Mana. This is one of those things where it's like occasionally you'll make it, and it's pretty good, especially going first turn if you're able to. This allows you to basically negate monster effects, and you're able to recycle your Novas onto it. And if you're in really bad shape, you can actually recycle your Infinities, but hopefully that won't happen. And obviously you run the 2 Infinities, 2 and 2 of Nova and Infinity. Then you have the Solemn Great Amirage, Cyber Dragon Zeger, and the one of Verte Anaconda. So that's the deck list currently, basically. So let's see a draw of 5 cards. And basically right here, you see what you get is basically full combo. Depending on what happens in the what kind of board your opponent wants to play, obviously the impermanence, generally speaking, will be out of your hand by this point. If your opponent is playing cards and you just negate one out of their field, you would leave with Pot of Prosperity, because generally speaking, if your opponent has a really good field, you're going to want to play this to bait out the Ash Blossoms, and generally speaking, you're probably going to want to banish 3, and hopefully you'll get something good. If they Ash it, then it's not too much of a problem, in which case you'll proceed to go to your Evenly Matches. You'll basically go to your battle phase and activate the Evenly Match and make them banish as much cards as they can. And once that happens, you can basically just summon the core, search 1 card. Usually you'll search the Cyber Repair Plant, and then you'll play Machine Dupe, and then you can get the 2 Cyber Dragons, and then you're able to build a negation field. With this kind of hand, you'll be able to build Cyber Dragon in Infinity, as well as a V-Mana, as a Chronomaly V-Mana. And that basically will give you 1 negation of any card and a negation of a monster effect. So I would be careful what you negate with the 2. This card is really one of the more important things, because it allows you to simplify game state, and your opponent, unless they have like really good resource regeneration, like in terms of cards, like Golden Lord, this is going to be a hard time getting past. So it's not always a game winner, but it usually will get you ahead in cards. So let's draw 1 card, and for the turn you draw the Ash Blossom. So unfortunately, like assuming that everything turns out okay, you basically will end with a Secret Ash Blossom in hand, an Infinity, and a V Mana as well. So, and the combo to make Infinity and V Mana is in one of my YouTube videos, so you're able to check that out. So let's try again. Let's see what kind of a sample hand we'll get for 5. Another one. This, obviously, you go second. This is a terrible hand, by the way. So, generally speaking, if you end up with a hand like this and you draw 1 card, okay, then you draw the Machine Dupe. It's still not good, but it's better with that Machine Dupe, obviously. Getting 3 Cyber Emergencies is usually pretty bad. So, I would hope you never see this. I generally don't see this kind of hand in my hand. So let's try again. Obviously, you get the Cyber Dragon Core, you got the Prosperities, essentially, and the Infinity. You draw 1, and you have the Evenly Match. So, generally speaking, you'll probably want to lead with, again, the Pot of Prosperity, and then probably Evenly Match. Go into Core, search the Cyber Emergency, and then just make the Cyber Infinity with the Galaxy Soldiers, and recur cost with Cyber Dragon Hers when you discard it, because then you can just add a Cyber Dragon from your deck to your hand and just continue going off. So let's assume Pot of Prosperity resolved, and let's see what the top 3 cards would go, because I would basically just banish 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So if your Pot of Prosperity resolves, you can get the Lightning Storm, which will allow you to destroy spells or traps. This sometimes will be good because it allows you to bait out the Solemn Judgments or any kind of negation that your opponent might have. So and you only run the 1-up because, generally speaking, like you don't want to play this in multiples, in my opinion. If only because like it basically acts like an extra Harpy's Feather Duster or a Regeki. And you don't run the Regeki because, at least with this one, you get the option to destroy either monsters or traps. Keep in mind, it only destroys attack position monsters as well. So, there's that. As far as my other tets in this game, the Electromagnetic Turtle, you use this to send off of Rampage, because when you send this card to Graveyard, you're able to prevent an attack against you. So if something happens on your side of the field and they attack you, you're able to use the Electromagnetic Turtle to buy yourself another turn. And usually nobody sees this coming out. So, and on top of that, like if you end up with this in your hand, and with a Galaxy Soldier or a Notster, it comes up in clutch, because then you can just discard this and it ends up in your graveyard, and you're able to buy yourself a turn. Obviously, you only run the 1 Kaiju in this deck because like you use it for the Fortress Dragon, where you would just Kaiju someone's like problem card, and you would basically just Contact Fuse this into this, and basically you would just end their turn right that way. It's a good way to get rid of like boss monsters that you can't target or they can't be destroyed by card effects. This is a gameplay mechanic. As far as like the hand traps are concerned, like the 2 Veiler, the 3 Ash Blossoms, and these Infinite Impermanence, you all want to negate monster effects, as well as like searching card effects, which is what the Ash Blossom does. Personally, I consider this a hand trap as well, because you can also play this during your opponent's turn. So that's another thing you have to remember. So if you end up with a field and your opponent clears it, and after their battle phase, you're able to play this during their turn, and they have to banish like basically their whole field, and it resets game state. It gives you a more cards to play around. So yeah. I only run the one Overload on the one Cyberload Fusion for the 2 Rampages that I have in my extra deck, just because like these are so playable and searchable. Cyberload can be searched with of course the one and only Cyber Dragon Core, and Overload Fusion can be played with Verte Anaconda as well. So, and generally speaking, you have the one Harpy's Feather Duster because like back row debts can really mess you up. So just keep that in mind. Also, with this card in particular, remember, when you activate this card and they negate the activation of this card, you're able to discard a card from your hand and add it back to your from your graveyard back to your hand and use it again, because this is not a hard once per turn. You have to activate and resolve it for the play to actually count. So that's another thing. The rev system, of course, you only play the one of, in my opinion, just due to the fact that this card is so searchable. You could play 2 of this, and it probably wouldn't hurt your deck too much, but I wouldn't play more than that. And again, this is just what I personally would play. You can also play this version in the TCG as well, in real life Yu-Gi-Oh! So everything in here is completely viable as well. If you don't want to play the Pot of Prosperities, personally, you can play You can play the Mat C in this deck. Mat C is a little bit better. I personally prefer to play Pot of Prosperity because this allows me to just basically get into new resources, which means you are able to banish 3 or 6 from your extra deck, which I understand might be a complete misnomer to do. That's something you may not want to do. But by playing this card, you're able to pick and draw into new resources into your hand that you normally wouldn't be able to find, like a Machine Dupe, like Herpes Feather Duster, like the Evenly Match, like an Impermanence and whatnot. This card allows you to find things that are not searchable. So I personally play 42. You can cut this down to basically just 41 or 40. Like, you don't actually have to play this version, personally. This is just what I like to play, because it gives you more interactions. So, if you really want to play Mat C in this deck, and you just say you want to play Mat C, my personal recommendation would be to drop the Super Electromagnetic Turtle, the Pot of Prosperity, and then drop 1 Evenly Match, and you can play 3 Mat Cs in this deck. So, but that's if you want to play Mat C. I personally wouldn't play it because I don't know if this game's going to have Mat C still legal for a while. And personally, I just don't like the card. I think the card is just kind of dumb. So, but that's just me personally. So, in any case, that's it. Like, that is the Cyber Dragon deck list that everybody's been asking for. Like, I personally think in this deck, like, it's one of the better decks to play in a format where the game is one and done. There's a one of match, basically. There's no side decking. So personally for me, this is one of the better decks to play. Also, there's something I forgot to mention, which is the Cyber End Dragon here. The Cyber End Dragon is in case like something happens on your field and you end up getting a Nova'd on field, but they end up destroying it, like whether it be like, for example, with Nibiru or some other destruction card. If this goes to your graveyard, you can summon this out and basically give your opponent a moment to think about life. So this is really good. This is another thing that I personally would play. Most sensible Cyber Dragon players would play Cyber Twin Dragon. So at that point, it depends on who you are. Also, if you're playing against Dogmatica and Maximus resolves and you end up having to send this to graveyard and another extra deck monster, you can send this and when in a new chain link, you can be able to summon the Cyber End Dragon. So always keep that in mind. Nova's really good, and most people don't see it coming. You can also play an Evoke Mechaba in this deck, because you can actually summon Mechaba with Nova, because it is a machine fusion monster. But I personally just don't like to do that. I prefer to play cards that like make your opponent think. I guess you could say you could drop the Pallades down and just play the Mechaba personally. But I personally play the Pallades for the V-Mana plays, because then you can have, if you have like a bunch of Etsy monsters in your graveyard, V-Mana can equip them and have basically, if you time it right and create it right, you can basically give V-Mana infinite monster negates. So, but keep in mind, this is once per turn. So, in any case, that's it. Like, I hope you like the videos. Please leave a comment and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions about the deck list. In any case, that's all. See you next time. Goodbye.